The twin suns of Kareth burned overhead as the crowd gathered in the settlement square. Dust swirled around worn boots and weathered faces. Faces hardened by years of drought and desperation. In the center of it all, 8-year-old Lyria knelt in the sand, her small frame trembling as rough hands pushed her forward. Her sister Thessa, barely 17 with long silver blonde hair catching the harsh light, fought against the guards holding her back. "Please," Thessa screamed, her voice cracking. "She's just a child. She didn't mean any harm." The crowd jeered louder. Someone threw the first stone. Thessa's world narrowed to that single moment. The stone struck Lyria's shoulder, and the little girl cried out, confusion and terror flooding her wide eyes. She didn't understand. How could she? She had only been trying to help, using the healing touch that came naturally to their kind to mend a settler's broken arm. But on this frontier world, anyone different was dangerous. Anyone with abilities was a threat to the fragile order these humans clung to. Another stone flew through the air. Thessa broke free, throwing herself over Lyria's body just as a rock struck her back. Pain exploded through her spine, but she didn't move. She wrapped her arms around her sister, shielding her completely. "Stop this," Thessa shouted, her voice hoarse but unwavering. "I'm begging you. Take me instead." Commander Draven stood at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed over his chest. He was a man in his late 50s, gray threading through his dark hair, lines of hard decisions etched into his face. He had led this settlement for 20 years, keeping order in a place where order was the only thing between survival and chaos. But something in the girl's desperate courage made him raise his hand. The crowd fell silent. Thessa looked up at him, tears streaking through the dust on her cheeks, her lavender skin bruised and bleeding. "Save my sister," she said, her voice steady now despite everything. "I'll be your slave forever. I'll serve this settlement until my last breath. Just let her live." Draven studied her for a long moment. He had seen many things in his years on the frontier, witnessed countless acts of cruelty and occasional moments of grace. But this raw, selfless love reminded him of something he thought he had lost decades ago, back when he still believed in humanity's better nature. "Why should I trust you?" he asked quietly. "Because I'm her sister," Thessa replied simply. "Because protecting those we love is the only thing that makes us worthy of being saved ourselves." The word struck something deep in Draven's chest. He thought of his own daughter, lost years ago to the harsh realities of frontier life, and how he would have given anything, everything, to shield her from harm. He stepped forward, released the child. The crowd murmured in protest, but no one dared defy the commander directly. The guards hesitated, then pulled Lyria to her feet. The little girl immediately clung to her sister, sobbing into Thessa's shoulder. "The elder one will work off the debt," Draven announced. "She will serve the settlement. The younger will be spared, but they will both be monitored. Anyone who harms either of them answers to me personally." Over the following months, Thessa worked from dawn until long after the sun set. She repaired equipment, tended crops in the community gardens, carried water from the distant wells. Her hands grew callous, her back ached constantly, but she never complained. Lyria stayed close, no longer using her abilities but learning the simpler skills of survival, always watching her sister with grateful, loving eyes. Draven watched them too. He saw how Thessa sang softly to Lyria during their brief rest periods, how she saved half her meager rations to ensure the child ate enough, how she taught her to read using scratch letters in the sand. The older sister never asked for mercy or special treatment. She simply endured, with a quiet dignity that reminded him more each day of everything he had fought to build on this world. One evening, 6 months after that terrible day in the square, Draven found Thessa sitting alone, staring at the dual sunset. Lyria was asleep nearby, curled up on a thin blanket. "You kept your word," he said. sitting down beside her. I always will, Thessa replied softly. Why? You could run, take your sister, and disappear into the wastelands. I've seen others try. Thessa smiled sadly, because running teaches her that promises don't matter, that when things get hard, you abandon what you built. I want her to learn something different. I want her to know that love means staying, even when staying hurts. Draven was quiet for a long moment. My daughter, he finally said, she was about your age when I lost her. Fever took her quickly. I've spent 20 years trying to build something here that would have made her proud, but I forgot what really mattered. You reminded me, not with your abilities or your strength, but with your heart. He stood and placed a hand on her shoulder. You've more than paid any debt. You and Lyria are free, not slaves, but citizens of the settlement, with all the rights and protections that entails. Tears welled in Thessa's eyes. Thank you. No, Draven said gently. Thank you for teaching an old man that the measure of our humanity isn't how we treat those who are like us, but how we protect those who are different, especially when they're at their most vulnerable. Thessa woke Lyria, and together they watched the suns disappear below the horizon. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight they had something they hadn't felt in months. Hope, not just for themselves, but for this settlement, for this world, for the possibility that different species, different kinds of beings, could build something lasting together. The frontier was harsh, but it was also a place of second chances, where the content of one's character mattered more than the color of one's skin or the nature of one's abilities, where a sister's love could change a commander's heart, and where an old man could remember what he once fought for. In that moment, under alien stars, they were simply family.